Hello there everyone, welcome to the final edition of Let's Talk Criterion for the month of September. And in this edition we take a look at Todd Solondz's dark comedy Happiness, which comes to the collection in 4K UHD. Director Todd Solondz is an American filmmaker who's best known for his style of dark, socially conscious satire takes on the American underbelly. His films tend to reflect his own background in New Jersey. Welcome to the Dollhouse, an independent film, and it won the Grand Jury Prize at the Sundance Film Festival in 1996 and launched both his and the career of actress Heather Matarazzo as the middle schooler Dawn Wiener and her rude discovery of adolescence. Happiness is an unconventional film, and it portrays the lives of three sisters, their families and those around them, and it darkly explores the themes of what it is to achieve true contentment in your life and how the apparently ordinary lives of people seem to lead to revealing a darkness underneath, born of necessity and human fatalism. Now, there was a controversy surrounding the film at the time of its release, with the layer of humour employed by the director, whilst he tackled subjects as diverse as disturbing sexual fantasies and male rape, which didn't sit comfortably with very many viewers. Now, on the one hand, it's a depressing portrait of failed relationships, loneliness and even sexual abuse. However, it's also simultaneously ironic, clever and at times hilarious. It's directed by Todd Solondz and it's often described as being one of the most disturbing films ever made. I wouldn't quite go that far though. Perhaps the reason it's so disturbing for many is because it is an unflinchingly honest account of what it is to be human. Happiness takes a seemingly ordinary American family and peels back the layers of dysfunction over the course of the film, creating, in turn, an in-depth character study of the search for happiness and fulfillment, which, of course, is very distressing and beautiful. Happiness focuses primarily on the lives of three sisters. We've got Trish Maplewood, played by Cynthia Stevenson. She's a housewife playing happy families with her husband and her two sons. Now, she likes to flaunt her achievement of the all-American dream. Meanwhile, her husband Bill suffers from violent dreams and disturbing sexual fantasies about little boys. Now, the middle sister, that's Helen Jordan, is played by Lara Flynn Boyle. Helen is a beautiful and a successful author, but simultaneously she's bored and unfulfilled. And when talking about the superficiality of her work, she states, "If only I had been raped as a child, then I would know authenticity." Though incredibly distasteful, lines like these are what makes Happiness such a shocking work. Regardless of the disgust we feel at watching such crass behaviour, the blunt deliverance and gruesome reality of its storyline gives this film a strange allure and a watchability. Now, this may be because Solondz creates characters which are both repulsive but strangely sympathetic. As a viewer, we've no choice but to feel compassion for these people who are searching for happiness in all the wrong places. And this is perhaps best demonstrated by the youngest sister, Joy Jordan, played in the film by Jane Addams. Joy has strong morals, but she's painfully naive as well. We watch her struggle with her feelings of inferiority to her sisters as she's constantly let down by the people around her. Now, the depth of character Solondz is able to provide to such a wide array of miserable individuals is what I think is particularly impressive about Happiness. He illustrates not only a single family unit, but the connections which tie that family to the suffering of others. As such, it never once feels shallow, as it masterfully portrays the maladies present in American society, holding in fact a mirror up to them. Now, the performances in the film are a key to its success. I'm going to take one particular performance, for instance. That's the one of Philip Seymour Hoffman, cast in the film as Alan. Alan is a repressed middle-aged man who's enamoured by a woman living in the same apartment block as him, Helen Jordan. He enacts this obsession through explicit anonymous phone calls he makes, facing constant rejection in his pursuit of pleasure. And as a result of this rejection, Alan also entertains a tentative relationship with his other neighbour, Christina, played in the film by Cameron Manheim. Drawn together by a shared loneliness and sense of disconnection from their peers, Alan and Christina's interactions make for awkward viewing. In a diner together, Christina reveals her brutal murder of the doorman. Alan then delivers what is perhaps my favourite line from the entire film. Well, we all have our pluses and minuses. Now, the pathos of this is an apt representation of what Solondz does so well. Fearless, bold and ironic, Happiness is understated in its normalisation of shocking acts. Jane Addams, as I mentioned, playing Joy. She's just broken up with the loser that she's been dating, John Lovitz. He gives her a present, which is an engraved reproduction ashtray he got through mail order. But after she thanks him, yes, he viciously grabs it back. This is for the girl who loves me for who I am. Dylan Baker is Alan's therapist and listens to him confide his deepest sexual fantasies, and afterwards Alan concludes that he will never realise them because he's too boring. The therapist, named Bill, is indeed bored by it all, but later Bill buys a teen idol magazine and masturbates while he's looking at the photos. Now Bill has his own fantasies over his son's friend, and he proceeds to engineer events during an innocent sleepover to sexually molest him, indicating a strong paedophilic tendency. Now, nothing is seen, of course, on screen, but the suggestion has upset many viewers, and despite the humour underpinning, it repulsed many on early audience viewings. Bill has an intimate conversation later with his own son, where he is brutally honest with him when his child questions him, asking if it's true what he did to his friend. Solondz has a specific sense of humour, which is not always well received. Happiness is about unhappy characters in a way that we can see them and their actions more clearly and feel sorry for them, whilst at the same time see how closely tragedy and farce come together. It doesn't have a convenient villain, as many movies do, or indeed a malevolent monster character to exercise evil and do horrific things and disregard humanity. Happiness occupies the emerging genre of the new geek cinema, which sits in the shadowland between tragedy and irony. Now, October Films was the initial distributor for the film, and they helped finance it as well. However, October Films' corporate parent, Seagram, specifically objected to the paedophilia plotline and dropped the film from distribution. Lynn Hirschberg of the New York Times magazine reported that Ronald Mayer, the then CEO of Universal Pictures, had personally blocked October Films from releasing the film, with Solondz later stating that Mayer considered the film morally objectionable. Good Machine stepped in and released and distributed the movie on their own. Now, due to its adult themes, Happiness received an NC-17 rating from the MPAA in America, and that caused the film to be limited in its distribution. The film also had difficulty in advertising as well, especially on television, and for that reason, Happiness surrendered its NC-17 rating and instead was released unrated. As such, it very much sits as an adult film, and on its physical disc release with Criterion has adult rating as well, and it will releases here in the UK on Monday the 30th of September. It will have a BBFC rating of 18. Todd Solondz made a pseudo-sequel to Happiness in 2009 called Life During Wartime, which is in the Criterion collection as Spine 574. And the film only had previously a DVD release, and the image quality on that wasn't particularly good. But now it comes to the Criterion collection with a 4K UHD and second Blu-ray disc with the following special features. A new 4K digital restoration supervised by director of photography Marci Alberti with 2.0 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack. One 4K UHD disc of the film, and that's presented in Dolby Vision HDR, and one Blu-ray with the film and these special features. New conversation between director Todd Solondz and the filmmaker Charlotte Wells. New interview with the actor Dylan Baker. There's a trailer and an essay written by screenwriter and novelist Bruce Wagner. And the cover art is based on the original theatrical poster for the film, and it's designed by Daniel Cloes. One of the most controversial films of the 1990s, The Unflinching Happiness, unnerves precisely because it dares to see the humanity in those most often denied it. Happiness has a running time of 140 minutes, and it comes in a 1:85:1 aspect ratio, that's widescreen, and it releases in the US on Tuesday the 24th of September, and here in the UK a week later on Monday the 30th of September as Spine 1235. So that does it for this month. In the next edition of Let's Talk Criterion, we move into the spooky month, that's October. And in fact, we look at a double bill of 40s existential dread. That's I Walked with a Zombie and The Seventh Victim, both produced by Val Luton, and coming to the collection in 4K UHD. So until then, from me, as always, it's goodbye, and above all, good Criterion viewing.